Hi there, Kelsey from RoughAndTumbleFarmhouse.com, and today we are going to be making a pallet hay feeder for goats. Now it's really important that your goats have their hay up and off the ground, really, for all of your ruminants and animals. You don't want them eating their hay off the ground because then it's going to come into contact with manure, which usually or often has parasites in it, and so it's important that your feed is not getting contaminated. Goats are notorious hay wasters, and a hay feeder can help to minimize the amount of hay that they are just wasting then on the ground. Now it's kind of chilly. I think it's just in like the low 20s today, so I'm going to try and work as fast as I can. Got the baby monitor here because the baby's napping, and so we're going to just kind of wing it. If you've watched my other construction type videos, I am not a carpenter, but I'm just a homesteader who has to make do and budget and come up with some of her own solutions. So the pallet is what we're going to go with today. So let's take a look at the pallets I have, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what kind of pallets are going to make an ideal goat feeder. So this is my little stack of pallets. I'm just going to make one feeder today, probably. I'll be lucky if I can get that done before my daughter wakes up. But here, this is a really nice pallet for goats. You can see that the gaps are wide enough that they'll be able to stick their little noses in, but they're not so wide that the hay is going to fall out, or you'll have a mischievous goat who is going to break inside of it. Another good thing about these pallets is these are in really good shape. You want to make sure whatever pallet you're using that there aren't loose nails or things like that around. Make sure that there isn't really sharp edges or things like that that are going to get caught up on your goats. So the first thing I'm going to do on this blustery cold day is I'm just going to use a hammer and pry the pallet boards off of the side that's going to be facing the wall. So the side I was just showing you, that's where the goats are going to eat out of, and the other side I'm going to take those boards off. I'm going to keep them because I'm going to be using those for making braces to help hold the feeder onto the barn wall. Okay, update. Prying boards off the back of a pallet, which I haven't done before. I've used pallets for making like a goat shelter and things like that, but I've never tried to remove the boards from the back of a pallet. It's like impossible, at least with a hammer. This is going nowhere fast. I've been out here for I don't even know how long. I'm pretty much just ripping the boards apart piece by piece. It is not going well. So I'm rethinking, gonna change stuff up a little bit here. So I probably won't be able to use the boards, but I'll show you what I'm gonna do instead. I'm gonna show you the embarrassing situation I found myself in with my hammer trying to pry these nails out. It's not, I try like hammering from the other side to kind of loosen them and then pry the boards, but they are in there, and I'm only in my early 30s, but I'm like, I'm gonna throw my back out if I keep trying to pry these boards off. So let me show you what I'm gonna do instead, I think. Okay, so here you can see where I've been struggling. It's like impossible to get your hammer under there. Maybe if I had some type of crowbar that might work. But yeah, here you can see this one. I'm just basically chipping it away to nothing. And then I get to the middle and see, look at that. It's just not happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get our circular saw, and I am just going to cut these off. Now the reason why I want to cut these off is so that this thing isn't so heavy. Okay, sorry, I got cut off there mid-sentence. It's cold enough out that it made my iPod that I film on just like totally the battery got sucked right out of it. So I'm gonna have to go kind of quick here. So I'm gonna show you what I did and why, and I found out also why those nails were like impossible to get out of this pallet. Okay, so here you can see I just took a saw and cut them off. I tried so hard to have a solid piece. I think I can still use some of the smaller ones will work for a little bit of the bracing I'm going to be doing when I'm mounting this, but I guess I have a nice little pile of kindling there, which is fine because we do some wood heat. So anyway, I just cut those off, and I discovered, I don't know if you can see it on these because I kind of just hammered these down a little bit. These nails are spirally. Can you tell on these ones? Maybe a little bit. And again, this is, if you know anything about construction, just stop watching this now. It's got to be so painful. But so they have these spirals on them, and I think that must be why they are in there so well. So I don't know what company built this pallet, but good for you. It is impossible to remove those nails. If you are someone who knows how to get rid of those kind of nails, please comment below because I would love to know, because I have a whole pile of pallets here and I'd hate to just have to sacrifice half the boards on one side. I know there's something I could use maybe just to cut it off at the nail itself, which I think would be a little tricky, but Anyway, I have removed the boards, and so unfortunately my daughter is up from her nap, so probably sometime tonight I'm going to have to get this thing mounted on the barn wall. Okay, so it's the next day. I should have just named my blog The Naptime Farmer, because that's pretty much when I farm, is during nap time. So I'm hustling to get these done. These pallets were much easier to just pry apart with a hammer, and they also have one less board in the middle. So I'm going to use these 2 pallets instead, just because they are a little bit lighter. So I'm going to hustle up, haul these down to the barn, and try and get them installed. I'm hoping also it's a lot warmer today that my iPod is not going to just shut down because it's cold, so I'm going to try and be quick with pretty much everything today. Sonny, do you want to say hi? Say hi to the nice folks, Sonny. Okay, so I do think it's too cold to just have this sitting up and, and filming me. So I'll show you here. Sorry, the light's kind of low. What I've done so far is I've just screwed a couple of boards to the wall and then one down there. So from the side of these boards, I'm going to have some bracing arms coming out. And then that is there for the bottom of the pallet to just kind of sit on. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to screw bracing arms on here. And I haven't even cut them to size just because I'm out here doing this by myself. And I think that's going to be the easiest way to do it, because I can't really hold this thing in place, add an angle, and, you know, measure stuff and cut stuff all at the same time. So I'm just going to put the arms on kind of long, and then I'm going to trim them off after. Here's Juneberry over here to investigate. You can't do anything out of the ordinary on this farm without her coming over to make sure it's on the up and up. What do you think, gorgeous girl? What do you think, gorgeous? You're gonna break this hay feeder probably? Yes, she says. Here come the goats in question. Okay, so hot tip. Pallet boards are useless because they split on the end. So thankfully, people who owned this place before us left a lot of random bits of wood behind. So I found these nice thick pieces and just screwed them on there and then braced it over there. And then I popped in just a couple of screws down here so it's solid down at the bottom. So the last things I have to do before this is done is I'm going to put another little brace here on the side that goes from this board over to this board. And we'll see, I might need to put something else down at the bottom there to keep little goats from getting in there and getting trapped, because goats look for stupid things like that to do. But already it's almost done, so really not too long of a project to put together. Alright, so there is my feeder all done. Like I said, I just put some little extra braces here on the side, and I'll maybe have to add, like I said, probably definitely will have to add something down here on the bottom. And I'm just going to clean up these edges a little bit here. Don't ask about that, just let's not talk about that. I'm just going to clean these edges off so they're kind of flush. But otherwise, it seems, you know, this thing is really solid, and I'm really confident this is going to make a great feeder for my goats. So the baby's up. I can hear her squawking on the monitor, so I got to get going. But this is, I think, a pretty successful project overall. Some tips I would say: don't plan on using the extra boards, like the thin slats from your pallets for doing any serious construction work. It didn't work particularly well. And plan to drill some pilot holes also through your wood. Because I'm lazy and hate changing out bits, I just used this smaller, thinner screw and kind of did a little pilot hole that way, and then did my big heavy-duty screw. So be more professional than I am. That's my other bit of advice. Otherwise, thanks for watching. You can always find more goofy half-baked construction projects like this here at my channel. I have a new video every single week. Please like, subscribe, share. It helps my channel get found by more people. Otherwise, just always visit here for more videos about farming, family food, and fortitude here at our rough and tumble farmhouse.